pull the whole thing down. I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.
Hello, everyone. Well, here we are, a day before American Thanksgiving, here with Stu's News, Stewie, and we've got our guest today is Dr. Randi Shannon, naturopath. How you guys doing?
Doing amazing, amazing. What an opener that was. That doesn't get. That's the first time I've seen that, so that fires me up, makes me hopeful and excited.
That's good. That fires us up every single time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, today we have, we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into some wellness, health and wellness. And Dr. Randi Shannon, for any of you who are not familiar with her and her work, she's a naturopathic doctor, and she transforms lives through her passion for holistic healing. She is also the founder of thebodycan.com. And she empowers individuals to take charge of their health and well-being, making a positive difference in the world. She has over 20 years of experience in nutrition, longevity, anti-aging, and stress-related health issues. And she's a recognized authority in natural health. Dr. Randi was also a Fox affiliate talk show host for 8 straight years, which we're going to talk a little bit about what happened with that. And so welcome to the show.
So great to be here. Thank you so much. And great to meet you, Stu. We hadn't met before. And Lisa, it's just always great to be around you. Such high, positive, amazing energy. So love it. Thank you.
So why don't we start by, because we always like to get a little controversial here. Why don't we start by saying you were a Fox affiliate on your radio show, right? 8 years is a long time. What happened? And yeah.
And I was blown away just like anybody else. One day we were there and then boop, we were gone. I did health bits for 8 straight years. We talked politics. We had celebrities and politicians and entrepreneurs and you name it on the show. Even people you would just like have no way of ever meeting or knowing. We had so many interesting people on there. And one day in December of 2019, we started, we talked about current events. So we were talking about what was going on over in China with, the COVID and it didn't resonate with me and that can't be, it doesn't make sense, etc. And so we continued that conversation. We were live in Albuquerque every single Saturday morning. And then it went to the Eastern Seaboard during the next week. It would play over the next 2 or 3 days, our show. Other stations would pick it up. And in March of 2020, what happened was our country went into a lockdown. And with basically no warning, it was wake up, we're going on the show. Nope, you're not. The show is done. So 0 warning, 0 loyalty, 0 care. And it was get rid of the people that were actually talking about it and not in agreement with it because there was an agenda and they needed to roll out the agenda and get rid of all of the voices that they possibly could, as many as they could. Some of them
Black Friday BOGO sales.
Sorry about that.
Somehow were able to break through and get some messages out. And then their names went on a list, if you remember hearing that. So that was scary. They had like a top 10 list, I guess, of people that they wanted to wipe out. And all of them were in the naturopathic world or speaking out against COVID. So it was not a good time.
Yeah, I've got that list on my wall there. It's the disinformation dozen, isn't it?
Yeah. So, so they got rid of any voice that was opposing them. They put the dancing doctors on and let's go get the shot. Let's go get our free fries and all of that. Like, I didn't buy into any of it. And it was just such a disgusting time. I did enjoy all that time with my family and having downtime. It was a forced vacation, but other than that.
Yeah, all those doctors were the ones I was listening to at the start. Anyone that was getting censored, and Rashid Battar, RFK Jr., Judy Mikovic, Sherry Tenpenny, Del Bigtree, all of those people, the ones that were getting censored and shut down were the ones I was getting my information of. And, a lot of those people in the disinformation dozen as well, Sherry, Christiane Northrup, and, people like that. But the information coming out from them was amazing. But everyone else was listening to their TVs.
Yeah. And if you weren't already, if you didn't have a presence on Rumble or somewhere else, which I really wasn't doing that, I had gotten my strikes against me on YouTube. That was about to go. I had the strikes against me on Facebook. That was about to go. They still show up today. That I was, basically in their eyes, a bad person for talking about truth, which now has turned out to be the absolute truth.
Of course.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a harder uphill climb. But the thing is they killed that show. And in the long run, they did me a favor because then I took my voice to other platforms. I didn't do it right away because I wasn't used to going out to those other platforms as much. So now I'm on, all kinds of shows and loving it, including Coast to Coast AM, which is the largest late night talk show. It's syndicated. We go on 600 stations live every time I'm on air. So right now that's not the topic on the show at all, but we've hinted at it a little bit. So my voice goes way farther than I feel like it ever did.
Good. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think it also forced a lot of us to really get more creative, if you will, and figure out, we're not going to be silenced. So we have to figure out different ways and get ourselves with that tribe, right? It kind of made all of us kind of find each other in a strange way to make that one loud voice rather than all of us kind of trying to do it on our own. So now, you specifically, I'm just curious, what exactly was it that you were saying in those early days of 2019, 2020?
I think at first they were blaming it on a bat again. Don't quote me because it's been a few years, but I said absolutely not. There's no way. Then how overnight it was in, like, I don't even know how many countries. It was massive overnight. That's also absolutely impossible. Now they're talking about I think they call it the noro or novo virus. And, when you do the research on that, and I looked it up, and it comes from oysters. Well, how much of the population's actually eating oysters? And it affects 2,500 people, it looks like, at most per year. So that's not something that's just like going around the world, but they make it seem like it is. And they scare tactic everybody. It's disgusting, how they do that.
They were all coming up with the same news headlines, weren't they? 33 new cases here, 33 new cases there. You could see it was coordinated globally, worldwide.
Yeah. 33, their magic number. I mean, if you follow into that number, it comes up all the time. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't totally deep dive in it, but I bet your show has where, it's Illuminati number. They have symbols. They put them out there. It's real. And so because of that, and it was, if you go do an internet search right now, I hate to say the company Google, but if you do a search, 33 pops up everywhere. That was the magic number for them. It's like if I want to send a message to you, I'm going to do it in a sneaky way. And so that trigger word is going to be 33.
Right.
Yeah. So
The problem is that, we were all out there talking, and because we were looking at the 40,000 foot view, so we could see like those tentacles going out with, it's all coming out the same way. And but people that were just sitting in their living rooms watching either local news, which quite frankly is so much worse even than cable, because it's like you're listening to someone sort of right in your town, right? So when they say, oh, there's X number of new cases, you're like, you take it with authority, but it's even more so.
Yeah.
And so they just had people so captive, and for those who didn't see it, I mean, we talk all the time, like how many jabs do you really need? Even even in the best case, if you think this is working, like 9, 8, then it's this one.
12. I've heard 12. Are you kidding me?
I know.
And I have so many people that have come to me because I'm a naturopathic doctor, and they took the first shot, they got some blood clots. Didn't correlate it, just thought it was just random. So they go get another shot, got more blood clots, didn't correlate it, went and got another one, like literally 4 shots this one person got. And now they can barely walk. They've hardly gotten out of bed in 2 years. Their life is absolutely over. And they're just now starting to work with me, but they have been completely suffering. And I do believe my methods completely detox it, what can be detoxed out of the body. And we have an incredible detox that takes all the heavy metal. It will strip everything out. And when people come to me, I have them do this for anywhere between 2 days and 7 days to 2 weeks, depending on how much they took, how bad a shape they're in. And it's 77 very specific cleansing herbs and minerals that'll just yanks everything, even chemo. So people, they think, oh, the chemo got out of my body. No, it was in every cell of your body.
Right. I think a really important point, and Stu and I talk about this a lot, is that part of the disclosure and part of the wake-up call was through, COVID and through the COVID shot, right? But we can't ever forget that all of us need to be detoxed, because at some point, everybody has, mostly, we're not going to say every single person, right? There are people who have understood this and decided not to, but most of us have all pretty much been contaminated with something. Our children, some kind of vaccine with heavy metals, the food that we're eating, the air that's been sprayed, the stuff that's been sprayed on us, just everywhere. So I think my own personal opinion is that I believe that a lot of this stuff that's happened, whether it has been the clots or the turbo cancers, I really truly believe that it wasn't necessarily from the COVID shot. I believe that a lot of this stuff was time released, and all this other crap that they've told us we had to take through the years that we pumped into our kids, the whole situation going back, and I'm going to probably get it a little wrong, but maybe 12 years, maybe 15 years, maybe a little more, with the Gardasil shot, where they made all the teenagers take it. So I think maybe the timing, we're seeing this, but the bottom line is that what you're talking about is that everybody needs to take very seriously that our bodies, and then especially with people who've taken chemo, right, which is basically poison. So we need to figure out, how do we get all that out of our bodies, no matter where it came from, what we did, whether we didn't comply, the point is it's in us. So I think that's an excellent point. I'd love you to talk more about detoxing, but I would like you to start by talking about what you do specifically and what your methodology is for how you treat people.
Yeah, no, that's great. I am a naturopathic doctor. There's a few of us around. We were the original medicine, but I took it a step further that most naturopaths don't. I don't really know of any that take it to the degree that I do, but I look at faces, fingernails, tongues, other marks of concern on the body. And from those markings, that is every system and every organ that we have. So when I'm looking at those areas, with a client, I can see, is the kidney in trouble? Is the liver in trouble? Is the digestive system in trouble? What's the likelihood of them having a stroke or high blood pressure? I can see that in the body. The body will throw signs. Are they missing certain things? Are they most likely even on certain prescriptions? I can tell that from those body parts. So I'm looking at cracks and lines and waviness and, spots, all different colors, from the pink color to of the tongue to the white to the brown to even black, yellow. The tongue turns all different colors, and people are walking around, even in this audience, with that going on, and they don't think anything of it. And right now, everybody should be, while you're watching the show, go look in the mirror. And if you have cracks, spots, waviness, I've had people come to me with saltine cracker type tongues where the crack all down from front to back of that tongue, you could just snap it. It just looked like it was barely connected. Smashed in fingernails. They think it's normal. It's not. Ridges, spots. There's different things that will show up, like red in certain areas, black in certain areas, and in certain formations on the fingernails and on the face. Everybody that's going, I blew somebody's mind yesterday. Talked to a woman, and she's getting Botox shots for pain in her back to kind of numb the nerves. And I said, did you take the COVID vaccine? And she said, no, absolutely not. No way, would never do that. Da, 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 da. And I said, well, every time you take a Botox shot, you're getting 5% human blood. So all these people, all these patriot women that think that they avoided it and they dodged it. No, they're still going out and getting Botox injections. And that blood is tainted.
Yeah, well, I heard they were putting the mRNA into some Botoxes. They were trying to put it into dental anesthetic, and
they're putting it in everything anymore. It's going to be like not even possible to ever go to these people.
Yeah, I started taking NAC in COVID just to be around people that had the jab, to try and negate myself as much from whatever spike protein was out there and shedding the stuff. We were all doing it. All my friends that were awake, we're all distilling our water. We're doing, various different protocols. But
yeah, and if people don't think that the shedding was real, I'll give you real stories right here and now. I had a man one time. I don't look at testicles. Okay, it's not part of my deal. But this guy goes, "Forgive me for what you're about to see." And I was like, that's weird. Wonder what's coming. So, because mine's, pretty clean. I don't have to look at those body parts, and, unless there's something like super crazy going on, like cancers and stuff. And he sent a picture of his testicles. He kind of had them pulled up a little bit to show me the massive blood blister he had. Now, had anything changed in his life? Nothing but one thing. His wife went and got the shots. I've had other people, men and women, that had them show up in mass in their mouth. The blood blisters. Hadn't had the shot, just were out there with people, if you know what I mean. So that is shedding. Never in my entire career have I seen that until the jabs. Never. And, I'm one of those naturopathic doctors that I love the scary things. The things that are scaring you, like cancers and autoimmunes, or RA, people with rheumatoid arthritis. That I just had somebody yesterday that came to me that had been medicated for 8 years. Well, that's something that there is an antibiotic that must be taken in the first 2 to 6 weeks is what it takes. And then rheumatoid arthritis just becomes arthritis. So all these people on these drugs and medications for 8, 10, 40 years for rheumatoid arthritis, The rheumatoid should have been killed off in the first 2 to 6 weeks. So if you're going to a doctor longer than that, he's just taking your money and you're still suffering. So all those types of people, the biggest type of client I have right now is cancer. People are coming to me daily with cancers. And we have listen, we can't save everyone. And it's not even me, it's the body that does it. Because some people come to me in the 11th hour and 59th minute and 30th second. Okay. And even some of them we've pulled from the clutches of death. And it's the body that does it because it's very responsive to what we do. And I'm one of the only naturopathic doctors that does what I'm about to tell you. So there is one medical doctor. He's a multi-billionaire. He's seen hundreds of thousands of clients. And I don't even know how you can see that many in your lifetime, but somehow he has. Maybe he has staff that's doing it. But basically, we're born with killer cells and we're born with helper cells. And that particular doctor, he helps to make more of them, but he does it synthetically. I don't like synthetics. Okay. I don't like bioidenticals at all. I was always talking out against that. I was always talking out against things like Ozempic. We know how that's worked out for people. Pancreas is failing, sick as a dog, removals of other organs. It's a disaster. I can't even believe that it's still out there. And I've always talked out about bioidenticals because there's no long-term study. That is a synthetic. I don't care what it is that you're taking. If it's a bioidentical, it's a synthetic. Okay. So when it comes to helper cells and killer T cells, I'm one of the only naturopathic doctors. I'm the only one I know of. I'll just say it like that. If there's somebody else, great, but I don't know about them. And so what I do is I help my patients get more of them naturally and massively. And those are the generals and the soldiers of the body. And the generals march that order out to the soldiers, and the soldiers go and look for those abnormal cells and kill them. And that is how we beat it. It's not me, it's their body doing it. It's just we help their body get the sustenance it needs to make that happen. And people have great success. Blood cancers, leukemias, people on the hospice bed told that they maybe have 3 weeks to live. That once they start the protocol, it is an uphill battle, because if you are a stage 4 or 5, you've got to still go through the doors of stage 4 and 5 to get to 3, to get to 2, to get to 1 and be cancer free. Okay. Abnormal cell free. And it's always a battle. It's always a battle. So yeah,
so
go ahead.
What is obviously the mental process of that as well? Because the mind is a powerful tool. Now, anyone being diagnosed with cancer immediately starts thinking the worst. But when they come to you, and obviously the body's got to heal, you have to put that process into reverse, don't you?
Yes, yes. And I give them incredible hope. The man that came to me yesterday, I mean, it hurts me. It does. I'm rethinking about it right now, and it hurts me. It breaks me down to hear a grown man break down. I don't know why. It's worse when it's a man for me, or a child. It's harder on me to hear that, because men are strong.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I give them hope, and I fight like hell for their life. Most doctors will never tell you that. Most doctors will say, well, you know, we see a spot, we're going to watch it. 2 years later, we're still going to watch it. And they wait for that to turn into a full-grown cancer. And then it's, well, we've got no time. We have to hurry into surgery. We have to hurry into chemo and radiation. And then they send you to the oncologist, who scares the ever-living bejesus out of you. Yeah. And you think, oh my gosh, this is the only option I have.
You know, I just want to tell a very quick story. So my dad, rest in peace, he died in 2019. He was an avoidant type personality. So when he saw he had certain things and they would advise him early to do something or to check it out, he was like, no. Okay, so fine. That's okay. But in the end, he was diagnosed with, he had a tumor like on his near his spine. And then he also had some, what they said or believed was cancer in his lung. Mm-hmm. Now, the first thing they did was radiation. Now, this was pre-medical enlightenment on my part. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a fan of it, but I didn't really know what the alternatives were. Okay.
Yeah.
My dad was a very like naturalist in the sense that he hated medicine. He didn't like to take anything. He would like just not take anything he was prescribed or given through the years, had a belief that the body had a way of healing itself, etc. Anyway, he's doing great. He gets the radiation on his back because it was a kind of thing where they said if it grew, you know, if they didn't get it, he could then be paralyzed. You know, how do you know, right? I don't know. Anyway, he did that and he came through okay. When I say okay, I mean it shrunk. He was very weakened, obviously, but now the next step was that he was going to have a very low dose of chemo, right? If it was cancer.
Yeah.
When we said to the doctor, well, what do you think? I mean, they see this all the time. This is a guy who's been an oncologist for 30 years. You don't know, right? Because it's all protect your ass, right? Because we don't want to say anything until we have a report.
Yeah.
Anyway, my dad was thriving. We had him on like a beautiful, nutritious diet. He was like happy. He was alert. The second we were in that office and the doctor had said there's a 99% chance this is cancer. They told him it was cancer. Done.
Yeah.
The man was hysterical and he kind of almost went into shock. And my dad was a pretty strong guy. Into shock. And then he says to the doctor, well, how long do I have? So the doctor said, well, it's not an issue of how long you have. That we're putting you on the lowest dose. You're going to be fine. You're going to live. Like, I can't tell you how long you're going to live, but I don't think you're going to die of this. Didn't matter. The seed was already there. And he literally, from April, when he got the diagnosis, he died June 19th, the 27th, excuse me. He just stopped eating and drinking. Because he knew he was going to die. And so when we got that death certificate and it said cancer, my sister and I were fucking losing our minds because we was like, he did not die of that. He died of starvation. He killed himself because the idea of you know, and now, of course, as he started, you know, getting worse and worse, now the doctor's like, well, he can't take chemo because he's not strong enough. Like he's over the course of 2 weeks, you don't eat or drink, you know, you're not drinking or eating. What's going to happen to you? Right. It was just a horrible nightmare. And it was all the power of the mind is to Stu's point.
Yeah. That's why when people get on the phone with me, I mean, and they send me the pictures and I look and I go, oh my gosh, this is, and I literally do this and I've been doing this for years, but what I'm about to tell you, this reaction that I have, sometimes I get so excited when I'm looking at the face, fingernails, and tongue, and I go, oh my gosh, this is going to turn around so fast. This guy's going to feel so much better in this area. This lady's going to this is going to be gone in like 3 months. Like I have an idea in my mind, you know, overall, everybody's body is a little bit different, but I have basic timelines. And basic timelines are this for the minor things, you know, 3 to 4 months, and they're pretty much gone. Or, you know, I'll have people that come to me with like crazy vertigo or tinnitus or migraines. One woman who's a realtor, she's over in Marco Island. She had the craziest migraines where every single week she had them. She had to close herself up into a room 2-3 days a week. And 1 week on my protocol, never had another migraine. And I reached out to her a couple of times over the last few years. She's, you know, she still takes a few things. She's more maintenance. So she doesn't have to see me now.
Sure.
But I said, have you ever gotten any more headaches ever to this point? She said, only one. And I said, really? What do you think prompted it? And she said, well, it was when the hurricane was coming in and there was atmospheric changes and they were getting hit on that side. So it was like a harder, you know, more of a change than maybe would have been on my side of the state. And she said, that is the only one. That's it. So, you know, the body's just like dying of starvation of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, essential fatty acids, certain herbal tinctures. And, you know, I used to work for an acupuncturist, and it was actually one of the best times of my career that I loved working there. But at the end of the day, everybody kept coming back week after week after week with the same problem.
Yeah.
And so I said to him one day, I said, you know, out of respect for you, because it's your practice, I don't say anything to your patients, but we could be doing so much better if we just help to nutrify them. He was only doing Chinese herbals. That's it. Plus his acupuncture. And because I was there, we were doing some other modalities that were super cool, like moxibustion and different things. And he said, thank you for your silence. So I knew he had no intent. He made a lot of money, and I knew he had no intentions at all to ever get them fully right. And it was right after that I gave my notice and went out completely on my own, because I could not work for, I have this mission, and it is, if I have a client, it's to help get them with my knowledge back to being a normal human being, feeling great, feeling healthy, moving on with their life, living to their greatest potential, which most people aren't doing.
No.
That's outrageous, isn't it? I'll just tell you a very quick story. I went to a chiropractor once, and he said, all that clicking about stuff doesn't work. I've had loads of problems in my back, so I've been to various people. All that clicking about stuff doesn't work. What you need is acupuncture. And for 7 weeks, it cost me about £30 a time at the time, just 20 years ago. I had acupuncture. I was left in a room on my own. It was painful sometimes and stuff like that. On about the 8th week, I said, I can't afford this anymore, as you were sort of saying. And he said, oh, well, we haven't finished yet. Let me give you one for free. Right? And I thought, oh, well, that's kind of you. That 8th week, his brother came in and clicked me all about.
Really?
I thought, and I've not sung his praises since, if you know what.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I will say, so I took my daughter to a local chiropractor, and you know what he said when she came in, and then I saw him too, because she said, well, you know, what do I do? He goes, well, you're going to see how you feel, because if you feel better, there's no reason for you to come back. And and then she still needed a few more, you know, just because she had injured herself a little bit. And then every time, like, even when I'll see him, like, I'll just feel a little stiff or just the stress, and I'll go in. It's not like just keep coming back. It's just like, see how you feel, make an appointment, call in if you need to be here. Like, his goal was to make sure we were functioning and fine.
Yeah. And that's the goal, is get people on track. The medical system is built. How do I say this? Okay, I'm the best one to come to for chronics, but yet most of the population goes to them for the chronics, and they are not, the only thing they have in their arsenal is pharmaceuticals. And
That's right.
Every pharmaceutical has side effects on your organs. So every organ, you might make yourself feel a little bit better here, but over here you're hurting the liver, you're hurting the kidneys, you're hurting your bladder, you know, or, you know, you name it, you're hurting it. So
that's why they're giving you another medication and to go with that one, and another one to go with that one, on a omeprazole, because that might upset your stomach, and this to protect your kidneys while you're taking that, and all this sort of stuff. And it goes on, doesn't it?
Exactly. It never ends.
So I think we've both seen that meme. I think it's if pharmaceuticals worked, then why are you always refilling your prescription?
That's a great point.
I mean, so you know what I want to talk to you about, and I'm so fascinated how you're able to work with people, which makes you like there's no limits to where the geography, because you're able to do it by photograph and talk to them online and that sort of thing. But here's the thing. I know a lot of people who have diabetes.
Reversible.
Okay. And they have, okay, now again, I'm not an expert in this, so I'm going to tell you what I'm told, because my answer is always like, well, there's got to be a better way. You know, I know a great naturopath, she can help you, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's like my conversation. But here's what I'm told. So as a a healthy person, I do intermittent fasting, right? Because I believe that the body needs to starve out the, whatever cells. And that's how our ancestors ate. And they didn't eat 3 times a day and all this nonsense that they've tried to convince us.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do that because the blood sugar will go too low. So they wake up in the morning, they have to eat. So therefore, the idea of helping to get rid of bad cells and to maybe even lose weight as a side benefit, to be more fit is difficult. Then we're told that when the blood sugar goes low, they have to grab something like a cookie, some ice cream, a Coke. I don't eat that shit on a good day. You know what I mean? So, okay. And then the other thing is that they have to take the injections of the insulin.
Mm-hmm.
What's the truth? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The truth is that type 2 and some type 1s that have been misdiagnosed is reversible. They are blood sugar issues. The pancreas needs a little support and some TLC. Okay. Literally, you're not wanting that chocolate bar, let's say. Okay. You're not wanting that awful bread. I love bread. Don't get me wrong, but gluten bread is very bad. It's very destructive to us. You're not what you really want. You don't want the ice cream. You don't want the cookie, and you don't need that. What your body is literally craving is minerals, vitamins, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. And instead of reaching for the cookie, if you're a diabetic, we have secret sauces. I take on diabetics all the time as clients. And we haven't had a type 2 yet that wasn't reversed. And some type 1s, you can only be born a type 1. Okay. It happens at birth. They're going to notice it within 24, 48, 72 hours. Anything past that, or even past that first year, because maybe people are clueless and not paying attention. And you're not, the baby's not tanking enough to catch somebody's attention. But anything past that year, and people get super scared when it comes to being diagnosed as a type 1 with their kid. And I get it, but that is, and we have helped get it reversed. It's not me, because, those that are bad guys that are listening would love to take me down for that. So I have to give all kudos to the brain, recognizing the appropriate nutrients, the proper nutrients that the body is actually craving. So when people come to me and hire me, they're hiring me for that expertise, and I hold their hand. And you're correct. Nobody has to come to me. There is no clinic here in Florida. Nobody can come to that. 100% of my clients send me pictures. They'll send it to my phone or to my email, and they fill out a 3-page report that gives me more information so that I'm, so then we're not just addressing, because people are always like, oh, I forgot I have this too, and I have that too, things that they've been diagnosed with. So my company is in all 50 states and over 20 countries. People send me pictures and hire me to help get them correct. And I have from celebrities to some politicians. I don't really want them all. And so I don't advertise, but, and then just everyday people that are out there struggling, sitting at home and suffering from these things. So everyone sends me pictures. The whole entire thing is virtual. If I open up my phone right now, it's loaded with thousands and thousands of photos. And I like it because when I hold their hand, so there's one price, they pay it up front. I don't like to think about the money, but yet I still have bills. That's why I have to charge. But every single month thereafter, they send me their photos again every 30 days because changes are taking place.
Yeah.
They are getting better. And every month I talk to them again. We have scheduled times that we will talk. And they get together with my assistant every single month as well. So for my pricing, there isn't a doctor around. There's people that will charge, and I've heard of this, big names that you guys definitely know, probably have guests on the show that charge like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for that in particular, diabetes, and then don't help it get reversed because they don't know how.
Right.
But this is my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
This is what I know.
So I thought, and I want to get back to that because pricing and cost and all that in a minute. But what I thought might be helpful to people watching, we just talked about diabetes, right? I'm trying to think of some of these out there problems that we all hear every day. You know what the other one I'm always hearing? Thyroid. How many people have to schedule, I got to have my thyroid removed and I have this problem.
Yeah. Awful.
What
If someone has a thyroid removed forever and a day, they're going to be like they just literally are tired 24/7. Whole energy is gone. Also, the thyroid is responsible for our body temperature regulation. So you don't have a thyroid, probably you're going to be cold all the time. Okay. You're going to be tired. You probably gain weight because you're just going to be completely off. The organs all matter. God gave us every organ, even if mankind hasn't figured out what it's for. Every single thing in our body has a purpose.
That's right.
The new big one with dentists is up under your lip, between your teeth, that in the gums there, we have a piece of skin.
Yes.
Dentists now are being taught in school to cut it out on everybody. Laser it out.
And what's the reason they're told to cut it out? Is it cosmetic?
They say that it can hinder their talking or this or that. Let me tell you, and we have them under the tongue as well. They're so important. You know what they tell me? If someone has a high chance of a colon cancer, for one example. So it's important for that to be there. Now, if you were tongue literally tied, if you had it at the tip of your tongue connecting you and you couldn't talk, it was just a lisp. Okay, I got no problem with that one. But, because you have to function, but not for no reason. And they catch people off guard. They did it to a friend of mine. She went in just for routine, get the teeth cleaned. And the dentist said, oh, you really should have that cut out. And she's like, why? And he said, well, it'll help you to talk better. It's easier to get up in there and clean and da-da-da. And she was like, well, okay. So she was like, yeah, I can't even believe she did that. Okay. Anyway, so she's laying there and all of it, like he lasered it. So she was literally smelling her own skin cook. And she called me after, not before. She called me after it was done and she was freaking out. And I said, why on earth would you allow anybody to do that? And then I took on a student, a woman, she's an engineer. And because I teach face, tongue, and fingernail analysis, I have a master class and academy on it. And she said that her son was, oh, that's amazing. Because I was teaching about the frenulums. And she said, oh, my son was just telling me how they're learning right now about cutting that out. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So, do not go for all these elective things. Every part on you is there for a reason.
So oh my gosh, so true. They're even saying now that wisdom teeth, right? I get it. Tell me if I'm wrong. If your teeth are growing in sideways or there's some, I guess that's the way to fix it. I don't know, because they're not going to come through the gum. Again, I'm not a dentist, I'm not a doctor, but other than, like you said, if it's joined at the tip and you can't speak, and if it's a
cosmetically or a function.
A function. If there's some issue, I get it, right? And thank God we have modern medicine to fix things that might otherwise cause a bigger functioning problem with living. Mm-hmm. But that's the big one. Listen, I'm a victim of that. I don't know. I was told I was 18, 19, whatever the hell I was, right?
You don't know anything.
You don't know. My mother my mother and father didn't know. But can we just jump back really fast to the thyroid? Because what is usually, I know we're talking about like the 4, the vitamin, mineral, essential fatty acids. And I forgot what the 4th general topic was.
Amino acids. Herbal
tinctures. Yeah. What is going on when people go to the doctor and their doctor and isn't that, correct me, is that usually an endocrinologist that's telling them that, or do I have my doctors mixed up of who's talking about the thyroid?
It's any number.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be a GP, general practitioner. It can be,
First of all, how do they know it's the thyroid? Like, do you know what I'm saying? That's the problem. And B, what is, from your perspective, the way that somebody should be, what could be done to kind of fix whatever is going wrong? In other words, what is the symptom that the doctor is basing the diagnosis on usually that tell people, oh, you have a thyroid problem?
Yeah. So they'll tell them that their numbers are off. And I believe they do a blood test in their test on the
Okay.
thyroid. I have lots of thyroid clients that come to me. And again, they don't feel good. They're lethargic. They're sleepy. And as soon as we get them on what I call the secret sauces, they come right out of that funk. Some thyroids are a little bit more of a bear because they've been on these medications for a long time. And I don't love the medications. There's different ones. There's one that is more natural, Naturopathic or Natrothroid, something like that. That is probably the better one than like a Synthroid or something like that. That's number one. They're just missing the secret sauces. The thyroid needs food just like other parts of our body, just like the liver does, just like the kidney does. And so, like, take a goiter where someone's getting a knot that grows in the throat. I haven't found one yet. I love goiters because within 30 days, you already see that baby shrinking right up. And, some people have bigger ones. Mm-hmm. And it's just literally, it's growing because it's missing the sustenance.
It's all nutrition, isn't it?
It is. And back to the detox, the chemtrails are so bad. Here in Miami, we've been fine for a while now, but the rest of the state is not okay. I keep seeing, there's a comedian that travels around the country. I can't think of his name, Bremer or something like that. What's his name? Yes, Jim. Jim keeps posting about it, and he's like calling out DeSantis on it and saying, are you going to prosecute these people? Because it said $100,000 fine every time that they're caught. Well, we haven't heard of anybody getting prosecuted yet. So I actually created a little image and put it in all the chemtrail pages and said, here's the number, here's the email. You have to go through the steps, take action. We can't just be a bunch of blabbermouths and nobody taking action. People have to actually do the work.
100%.
Go make that call and go send the email. They require both. So do both. It's not that hard. But because of those, and there's new studies out, in our sweat, they're actually testing the sweat for high aluminum. And then when they go through either a sauna or even my detox and a sauna or just my detox, the sweat is testing lower for the aluminum because you're getting it out. It's coming out of the body. So my detox pulls that aluminum out. It'll strip it all gone. So people need to, if they're in a chemtrail area and that's happening daily, you need to be taking my detox daily. It tastes great. It's not even hard to do. And I love it so much. I'll go pour like an 8-10 ounce glass of it. And just like, I'm aggressive. I just like slam it and get everything out and then start remineralizing again. And I did want to also touch on healthcare a little bit. You had an amazing guest on a couple weeks ago, maybe?
No, I think it was last Monday, right, Stu? Monday or Tuesday. We had Thomas Barr.
Yes. And he totally touched on the healthcare in this country, which is a disaster. So you're paying enormous rates for healthcare to go get subpar treatment. And you don't get to choose the doctors you want. You're like forced to stay in a network. You don't get to leave the state. Like, this is America. And if I feel like the best medical doctor for me in any kind of a situation, which I don't go to them because I am a naturopath, I take care of myself, but I carry his healthcare coverage because if I had something catastrophic, I would want something. So I take the highest deductible and the lowest monthly out of my pocket. I take that. But I lower that high deductible that I took because I do healthy things. I take my nutrients, I go to the gym, and I just turn over those receipts, and they lower my deductible by about $150 per month. So and when I went to them, I had been pricing around because, I'm in my 50s. I'm 57, about to be 58 next month. And so I had been pricing around, and I found with Blue Cross, Humana, Better, which is one I had never heard of until I started pricing around. I was like, oh, okay, well, let's price that too. And every one of them wanted between $1,100 per month and $1,400 and change per month from me. I was floored. And then when he showed me his, I was a flat $150 per month. And so now I do suggest everyone get that, because if that saved me almost $17,000 a year. If I had gone with those other ones, I would have been spending 17 grand more out of my pocket. Well, I got kids and I got grandkids and I have bills to pay too. The last thing I want to do is throw $17,000 away in a system that I really don't even want to use unless it's an emergency.
For anybody who doesn't know, and I shared it with Thomas, that through you, I found that out because my story was similar, but like a little worse, because I have 3 kids, 2 kids. So there's 3 of us, and same company, same players here in the States, 2000, it was over 2000, say 2000, it was over 2000. It was like 21 something, a month. And $5,000 deductibles per person. Doctors, I didn't even want, like any doctor I had gone to. I mean, like you, I really don't go anymore. But my kids are still young. We don't know what's gonna, right? Sometimes they got to go.
Yeah.
And I was literally beside myself because my ex-husband, he's not there, and it was a big nut. So what I loved though, so anyway, because of how my mind works, I'm always with the why. So why are they able to do this? Like, this is what I was thinking to myself. Like, there's got to be something, there's got to be something wrong with it, because why is it so inexpensive? So it's like, why? So before I went through the whys and realized it wasn't, I realized and learned that with these major companies, they are just piling on everything and anything that you're paying for people who don't take care of themselves, who are sick, or who are doing medical things that I'm against on a moral basis, whether it's abortion or it's transgender treatments or things like that. So I kind of did my homework, and to his credit, my accountant, who made me ask a lot of questions that even I didn't think of. But the thing is, there's no reason to have to waste that money, especially today when you've got all kinds of craziness with food prices, right? Anybody who's got tuition, I got 2 kids in college. So for me, and then what I loved mostly about this was that I didn't have to worry where I wanted to go. I don't have to say, I got to go to this doctor. And then you got to go to the primary so you could get a referral to go to a specialist. Like, it just wastes your time.
Yeah, 100%.
It stresses you out. So if you felt a little off, now you're going to feel way off. So I'm just kind of reiterating that, because I'm really pleased when I've been able to recommend it to people, and especially young people, young people that are in their 20s. And I know this because I have friends' kids. They'll just screw it. If I don't have it covered through work, or they're entrepreneurial, or they are still in school, whatever the case may be, but they're not on their parents' plan. These kids are winging it.
Yeah.
So for less than $100, I'm sure in some cases,
73 for
you spend more on coffee, right?
Yeah.
You spend more when you go to Starbucks or one of these fancy coffee places. So it's and again, it's for God forbid the catastrophic that you can't control. God forbid there's an accident. God forbid, something happens that is not just part of the normal day to day. Because most people that are healthy don't need to go to the doctor all the time.
Exactly. So, I was thinking about, what could I do for your audience? Number one, so that they start to get healthy. But number 2, if you're with Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Ambetter, Humana, Aetna, all of them, their CEOs are taking $25 million bonuses at the end of the year, the first part of this next year. And it's because you paid all your money, your hard-earned money, to them so that they could live the lavish life while you live on the edge. So for anybody in your audience, and they can share this show, they have to share the show with other people. I am doing something I have not done for years, but I'm going to throw something nice out there for your people. And I'm going to give your phone number, Elisa, so that they call you. It's just a voice message, and then Elisa will call you back, which is 844. So everybody write it down. 844-663-1776. You get signed up for that healthcare coverage and pull away from the big guys that are ripping you off. And I will give you, once you're signed, sealed, and in her system as a healthcare customer, I will give you a free tongue analysis. And I can tell you, I charge $695 for that. And it comes with 3 months of service from me. So I'm pretty inexpensive in the long run for what you get, but you've got to be an Impact Health customer. It's about taking action and moving away from these big companies. Impact was started on the concept of how it started in the 70s in the churches, where you helped your fellow man. So it's a healthcare share. So they operate by different rules. However, they bill just like all the big ones would. They have a card, and on the back of the card, it has what's known as an EDI payer ID number. So all the hospital has to do is get on the horn with the people on the back of the card, and they're in the system in minutes, as opposed to, if a doctor or hospital was trying to use these bigger companies, it takes months and months to make that happen. And you're not paying that bill direct. You're actually, the insurance company or the hospital is dealing with Impact Health. So you may have questions. That's why you got to call the toll-free line. And once you're in, we will verify this. And I'm going to give this to, I was going to say 50. I will give this to 100 of your listeners that get started in Impact Healthcare, but they've got to make that phone call right away. And I will make a cutoff, let's say, of December 15th. Okay, December 15th. They have to be signed, sealed, and delivered into the system. And I will, so they're basically getting a tongue analysis for absolute free, and they're switching and saving. I saved almost $17,000. How much did you save, Elisa?
I saved almost $16,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I could not believe it. And I mean, listening to Thomas was amazing, because I'm in the UK and we get free healthcare here, of sorts. But how much Elisa was paying, and when Thomas went through it all and everything, it absolutely sounded amazing to me. But the trouble is, people that they don't realise, because this is all monopolised, isn't it? All these big companies,
Yes.
They don't realise there's other companies giving you a cheaper choice, which is amazing.
Well, here's an interesting story. I was working with an insurance agent, right? Because they're doing all the work at the time. They're finding out, they're sending me, here's the gold plan, the silver plan, the bronze plan, all this nonsense, what's included, all that stuff, right? And by the way, this guy was amazing. I mean, he was helpful. He was there. He picked up my call. He was just a nice person. Him and his son own this agency. And I said, listen, I just don't know what to do because I can't afford this anymore. And it's, knock on wood, we're healthy. Yeah. So I don't want to not have insurance, but I can't do it at this price. And he's sending me like options, right? I had been on the Obamacare for a couple of years. I can't even go into that because the little thing they don't tell you about that, well, a lot of things, but the one of the most prominent things that I learned is that on the exchange, when you have that, you will then get assigned, so to speak, depending on the plan you pick and how much you can pay and what your income is, because they go by your income a lot of times. You'll get like a regular insurance company, like an Emblem Health or, a Blue Cross Blue, whatever the plan you pick, but you're getting the lesser. So you don't realize until you go to the doctor that when you say, oh, I have Emblem Health or I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's not the private level that you get the certain amount in your co-pays or that the doctor even takes it. So now you think your doctor's on the network because you call and you go, hey, do you take this insurance before you sign up? And they go, yeah. And then you go and then they look at your card and they're like, oh no, we don't take these plans.
Yeah.
So now you're back to square one. I can't go to my doctor. I'm getting less of what I think I'm paying for, even though I may be paying a little less than if I went with a private. But aside from all that, you're paying for it in who you have to deal with. I mean, they don't know anything. They're very untrained. I'm not talking about the people at the insurance, but if you have to deal through the exchange, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, when I thought about it, this was what was my logic. My logic was, what are they comprehensive? Can they cover everything? How accessible are the people that I need to talk to? I had a problem once, and I actually sent an email to the vice president. And I'm not suggesting people just reach out to the vice president, but she actually emailed me like a few hours later.
Yeah.
And she gave me her opinion of what I was dealing with and what to do. And it was very sound advice. So what I found for me when I did my analysis, thinking worst case, I'm thinking, okay, what if there's a worst case that something for whatever reason isn't covered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to pay maybe 200 here, 150 there that I didn't anticipate for whatever reason. It's still less by far
Oh,
of
yeah.
what I'd be paying if I was just paying that $2,000 premium.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a dollar. You have to think of it as numbers, because the healthcare system, and we all know, regardless of what anybody says, it's imploding.
Oh
So
my gosh.
we're going to say goodbye to all this stuff. We're going to say goodbye to big pharma. You're with a company that, like, a situation, let me put it that way, where it's really about people caring, and it's not these corporate conglomerates, because it's also a 501, it's a nonprofit.
Yeah. Well, and anybody who is on Obamacare that earns $14,001 is about to go triple in price, quadruple in price starting January 1. So anybody who's still in that 14,000 or below on Obamacare, like, you can't make more than 14,000. I don't know why anybody would want to live like that. So unless you're handicapped or something.
How do you even live? It's not even like, what? How do you even live on how do you? We know what we all make, and we in this, right, living on Long Island, living with the cost of things and taxes, and how.
Yeah,
you're a slave. Like, you're beyond a slave. It's so sad.
So this is the time to make that movement. The country's in an open enrollment status. So small businesses, they specialize in 49 or below, which is fantastic, because most businesses are that, unless it's like some giant one. And there we can only become an option. Okay. We can't take the place of those bigger companies, but those people can opt out. They think, oh my God, I'm locked in. Well, I had a son that was that. So he thought, and they were taking over $500 a month out of his paycheck. And all he had to do was say, I have a altering or life-changing situation. He was able to opt out. And he picked us up for like $110 a month.
Wow.
Instead of $500 a month. For a young man in his 30s, that was so much better. Yeah.
So I forgot the point of my story. The point of my story is when I finally went back to my agent and I said, I'm sorry, I found a different option. I love you guys, but I can't work with you. And they were like, what's the option? And I said, well, it's Impact Health. They were like, oh yeah, we work with them. I said, you work with them? Yeah, we leave it as an option. I said, but why didn't you think that was an option for me?
Yeah.
When I'm telling you I'm having financial, struggles.
It's an amazing product. So if people go to you, they call that toll-free line. I'm going to give it one more time, 844-663-1776. That's Elisa's toll-free line. And if you get signed up, it kicks in. If you are signing up today, it kicks in on December 1st. If you sign up anytime after December 1st, it won't kick in until January. And that's when you would get your tongue analysis. So try to do it before, and try to share this with everyone that you know. And
what number?
Yes. I love how it ends, by the way. 17.
I know that was chosen. That was chosen. 17.
That was fantastic. And the thing is, everybody's got, if you start talking to people in the States, and I know, Stu, this whole topic is like not something that you're dealing with, or people, in the UK are dealing with, but everybody has some kind of horror story with insurance. It doesn't matter. Everybody has had a horror story. I remember when I got divorced, my divorce was signed in October. So he was responsible to carry, he was supposed to pay for the kids, right? But for me, because he was so nice, he was only supposed to pay for me through November. So I said, listen, whatever you're paying, let it go through December. I'll pay you, so you don't have to pay for me. And he cut me off. So now God forbid, I had to go find insurance for the month of December because I couldn't start until January with a new plan because of the whole open enrollment nonsense. I had to pay $900
Wow.
for 1 month for me because, of course, I'm calling it right? So I'm not the only, I'm sure everybody, especially if you're a single parent or if you're older, whatever, it's a nightmare. And they're all in cahoots. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We know they're all in cahoots, and all you have to know is that if somebody's taking a 20, 30, or $40 million bonus,
it's crazy. There was one that took
something's wrong.
One had a 1.2 billion.
Yeah.
So if
people are dying because they can't afford, or they're going bankrupt because they can't afford health insurance.
Exactly. So just real quick, because I know we're getting ready to end, my website is thebodycan.
I'll put that on the screen if you just want to.
Yeah, there it is.
You go. Look at that. You're like me, a million tabs open at the same time.
Yeah.
So thebodycan.com is because the body can heal is why we have it as can. And if somebody wants to just straight schedule with me, okay, this is not Elisa's number. Mine to just straight schedule with me. I love taking on all the cancers and the diabetics and the high blood pressures and all of that. 844-275-1056, 844-275-1056, and get scheduled today.
Yeah. And I want to just remind everyone, if you do call that number to call me, please use the code Patriots.
Do
plural. It. Yeah, use it so we know that, you came through our show and, you're a follower. We love to connect with people. So just use that code.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So any last thoughts, any bits of advice to give anyone? There's so many people. I think a lot of our audience is very awakened. And so knowing that there's someone like you out there that they could work with, who has similar values, both in the way she views things, but also in the knowledge base and the treatments that are natural. But, of course, we don't know who, hopefully, God willing, between us and then people that are listening, this whole show should be sent to people, especially those that are still so tied into, my doctor said this, my doctor said that, to maybe open their minds. Any parting thoughts or ideas to give people to maybe open their minds a little bit about moving away from this whole allopathic, petroleum-based medication to the more natural and the, natural cures?
Just remember that this is America and we're Americans. When I think about, the overlords, I think about my Nordic and Swedish background and how they would have never stood for all of this. And the way for us to not stand for it is to not participate in it and to pull back, go back to the naturopaths, get out of the Rockefeller style medicine as much as you possibly can and go to a naturopath. I will take you on. I don't care where you are in the world. I take on clients everywhere. You don't come to me. It's all through the pictures and all on the phone. I pick up the phone. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm headed up to Fort Lauderdale for a lunch. And I'm going to be calling clients the whole entire way. And my clients love it because it's so personable. Like, it's really me. And they'll say that, oh my
They don't just get 15 minutes and they're waiting in the waiting room for like a half hour, and then they get 15 minutes and then they got to get the hell out of there because the next 400 patients. So he could pay his, so the doctor can go and pay his malpractice insurance, right? Because nobody's making money in this system.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. No, they actually get to talk to me, and it's funny because clients will be like, "It's really you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's really me." So I love to. That's my love. I love getting into the foxhole with the clients. I love it. So let's move away from that system. Remember who we are. Live in our fullest potential, and that means being healthy. So,
yeah,
exactly. I mean, we haven't got time for it now. I've got a full regime that I do throughout the course of my day. I fast, I distill water, all these sorts of things, take supplements, only eat once a day, go to the gym, all these sorts of things. I'm still a bit, feel bloated at times and things like that. But I was just going to ask, that sort of detox you've got with the 77 things in it, is that available for people to purchase, or does that come with your...
Nope, you can just purchase it straight out. All they have to do is just call that toll-free line,
Yeah.
844-275-1056. Say, I don't want to schedule with you. I just want that detox. And I'll have my assistant call them back. Okay. And they can just make the order and it'll get shipped in a few days.
And what we'll do is we'll, Stu, you know, in both of our channels, we'll just put in the description box that number again. It's
844-275-1056.
And this would be, I guess we'll put it under Dr. Randi's detox supplement.
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. We'll
It's
add
on the
that in.
screen. That right?
There it is. Yes, 844.
I'm sorry. Let
There
me
you
edit
go.
that.
No worries.
Yeah, we'll put this. I'll put this in as soon. We'll edit it in so in case anybody sees this.
Hold on. That's really weird, that.
844. There you go.
There we go.
I typed it in as 844 and it came up as 884. That
Well,
is weird.
that's Elisa's number for the healthcare right there.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. And then the other one,
Right.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Sorry.
No worries. You're great. 844-275-1056. Thank you both so much.
Thank you for what you do.
844, that one's Elisa's. Then let's see the other one.
Oh, that's it.
275. There we go. There we go. God bless you all.
Yeah, thank you. And we'd love to have you on again, Dr. Randi. Just maybe we could even dig deeper into what I would love to do. I'll just put it out there.
Okay.
And I am copying this. Okay, I'm copying this. Because one of our other truther friends will have, you know, naturopaths and people in your field come on to look at different medical conditions, like the more, you know, the popular ones to the unpopular ones, and just some, you know, why those aren't conditions you need to live with. And maybe we could have you on again and kind of go through, like we touched on thyroid, we touched on diabetes, but, you know, like I said, people are in the fear mode and their doctors are telling them, and they're in this echo chamber and they don't, you know, I have a dear friend who just was dealing with a fatty liver and it was done. And I'm quoting, and there was no good. And he just went for a liver transplant. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to comment whether it was necessary or not. But the point is, when a doctor is convincing you that there's nothing you can do, that's where I see the problem.
The liver is resilient. The kidneys are crazy resilient. I'll go into that in detail.
I'd love to talk to those subjects. Yeah.
Right.
So we'll have you on in a maybe a couple of, you know, a month or two, and we'll talk more about that and bring shed some light on how nobody should be walking around thinking there's nothing they can do to make their health better. It's so frustrating.
There's always hope. Always.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Lots of love.
You're welcome.
Keep fighting.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving and Christmas coming.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.